So you brought it.
I did. See all the folds from being in my suitcase.
All right, we're gonna begin. My red dirt feet.
Body, I am a mess.
Some of us showered and some of us didn't.
Yes, that's okay. Some of us are clean, some of us are not.
No judgment here.
So I want to go over a couple of things first, and then we'll get into the practice, and then I'll give us a little inspiration for the practice. The first thing I want to say that I failed to go over last night when we were doing our sacred circle is this is meant to be a retreat for all of us and also for you as an individual. So I love that already, even though I didn't say that, you two were like bowed out, like I am not going to force myself to go up that climb, and you made the right choice for you, and I totally applaud that and appreciate that you were listening to your body, because that is yoga. At the same time, it's okay that we split up. We weren't intentionally splitting up at that second hike, but it's fine. We ended up back together. It's all good. And it's also equally okay that us in our group, you guys took off. I gave you permission. Go. You can climb Bell Rock if you want to. Take a different trail if you want to. We'll all end up back together. And we had a good time.
Oh, we did.
We struggled a little bit, but it was good. Like, we made it. And we felt good in the end. And we actually beat you guys back, surprisingly. So I just want you to know, even though we have like somewhat of a plan, right? We have to be flexible, and yoga is about flexibility. That's why I always call it a loose itinerary, because we have something set on paper, it looks good on paper, but when we're actually all together and we start to feel the dynamic of the group, we start to see who is drawn to what. It's okay if you want to bow out of an activity altogether. It's okay if you want to ricochet and say, you know what, I really need a day to myself. I think I'm going to stay behind. I think I'm going to read a book. I think I'm going to call an Uber. I think I want to go to the New Age Center. You know, it's fine. It's a retreat. It's meant to be a vacation for you. So we had to switch up our plan today. We were supposed to go to Devil's Bridge. It didn't happen because of parking, but now we know we can take the shuttle in the morning. It's totally fine. Cathedral Rock was meant to be the second hike for today, so we just put that in the beginning. Bell Rock was supposed to be tomorrow. We just moved it over to today. It's all good, right? It's about being flexible. Tomorrow we plan on getting up, going to the Devil's Trail, or the Devil's Bridge Trail, like we had planned to today. I do want to take us to Peace Park tomorrow, and this is something I want you to know about Peace Park. Peace Park is on private property, even though they open it up for the public to come. And there's a Buddhist stupa there. We're going to do a practice there. I'm going to teach you what to do when you arrive so that you look like you know what you're doing. But not only that you look like you know what you're doing, but I want you to use it in a very respectful way. And I want you to be an example for others. When we were there, people were very respectful. People were sitting to meditate. Everybody in our previous group was very intentional and respectful of the grounds, and nobody was loud, and I don't expect you guys to be either. But what I've heard through the grapevine from other people who have been to Sedona and who've gone to Peace Park, in fact, one of my friends just told me right before we came here, she was like, oh my God, I was just in Sedona a couple weeks ago, and all the women in the yoga pants, you know, going to Peace Park, and they're so loud, and they weren't being respectful, and all they wanted to do was take photos. We're not going to be doing that, okay? I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, you can take pictures, but it's really not about the pictures at this special place. It's really about being mindful, and it's about practicing our yoga and taking it to the next level. So the next level of yoga is meditation. The pinnacle is meditation. And that's what truly changes a person. It's not down dog. You can do 1,000 down dogs. It's not going to change you. It may change your muscles, but it's not going to change you at a really, really deep level. It's the mindfulness. So whether it's meditation or whether it's, you know, I don't know, like there's tons of stuff we can do for mindfulness. Even when we're out on these trails and we just take pause and we're taking in the stone or the color or the twisting juniper trees or the random wildflowers, it's really about just being in the moment. If you look at the yogic philosophy written in the Yoga Sutras, the very first word is atta. And atta means now. It was placed as the first word on purpose. Now. 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 If we're living in the past, can't really be in the present. If we are carrying our stress around, our trauma around, and our wounds around all the time, we're still tethered to the past. And if we're leaping forward into the future, which I have a tendency to do, I love to plan things. I love to create things. But I also have to stop myself sometimes and be like, okay, just sit here and be with the dog right now. Be with the kids right now. Like, what are they doing up in their rooms? Let's have a game night, you know? It's just creating these little things. And I want you to be doing that while we're here, because this is a yoga adventure retreat. It's not all about yoga. We are doing yoga, but it's about practicing the yoga, implementing the yoga in other ways, which I already see you guys doing. I mean, it's amazing how many people we've met and just socialized with and connected with just randomly. That's yoga. Yoga's relationships. So it's just about practicing in a different way. Even though, yes, we will be practicing this way too. And it's not to discount the physical practice, because it is good for us. With that said, yoga is a delicate dance between mastering self-control, because when we're practicing the physical poses, and we're going to be doing a yin flow, so some will be active and some will be passive. The active yoga poses, it is about the skeletal system, it is about the muscular system, it is about the proper alignment engagement, right? And it's mastering that and figuring out, how do I tune into my body, and how do I get this correct, and how does it feel in my body, and how am I directing the energy in my body? At the same time, the passive poses are completely about letting go and not worrying about the structure and just feeling it and experiencing it and breathing through it. And so there's always that delicate dance with the yoga. So now let's talk about meditation and a little spark for tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll be going to Peace Park. There are huge medicine wheels when we walk in. And when we walk in to see the medicine wheels, we're going to roll them. And as we're rolling them, I want you to think of this mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. And it means celebrate the jewel of the lotus, which is really the essence or the spirit in your own heart. So in the Buddhist tradition with these medicine wheels, that's the mantra that you use when you're spinning the wheel. How do you spin the wheel? Clockwise. So spin the wheel clockwise, and I'll remind you of this later so that you can be intentional with it. And again, you can be an example for other people, like, because they may not know what to do. So using the medicine wheel, or not the medicine wheel, but the prayer wheel for that, we will be walking around the stupa 3 times, silently, on your own. We don't have to be grouped together. Just do it on your own 3 times, power of 3. And then you can either sit at the stupa and meditate, or you can go right up behind that, and there's this massive Buddha, and you could sit at the foot of the Buddha if you want to meditate. Sitting at the foot of the stupa or the Buddha is not worship. So I don't know where you're at in your journey, but the symbol of Buddhism in him sitting and meditating is a reminder for us to practice mindfulness, to practice meditation. It's not worshiping the Buddha. It's just an example. Then there's another stupa for Tara. And Tara is like a bodhisattva. She is the goddess of compassion. And so you can do the same thing. It's a smaller scaled stupa, and then you can walk around it 3 times. And then there's benches that you could also sit at. There's trails that you can take into the trees, prayer flags hanging everywhere. The last time we were there were yoga mats. So if you wanted to practice some yoga or take a shavasana, be at liberty to do that. At some point, we're going to go to the medicine wheel on the same property, and then I'm going to teach you a ritual that you can do with the medicine wheel. And there may be places that you go in your travels where you see that there's a medicine wheel, and then you'll know what to do, and you'll know how to use it. So that's what we'll be doing in the park tomorrow. So I will probably give you so much time to kind of, do all the things, and then I'll give us a time to meet at the medicine wheel so that we can do that collectively. Otherwise, you can kind of be on your own. Let's see. Yes. Okay. So Om Mani Padme Hum. There's a Buddhist parable, and it's like this. There was a man who really wanted to join a monastery. He wanted to become a monk. He wanted to become enlightened. And of course, this was in the East somewhere. And every day he would go to the monastery and he would ask the head monk, wanting to come in to learn. And one day he kept showing up, and one day the head monk said, come in. And so he was able to stay, and he was able to join the monastery, and he learned the mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum. He learned that mantra, he worked with that mantra, and worked for years. And eventually these monks, as they would start to get some self-mastery, they would be given permission to go outside the monastery and to teach others, or to travel, or to do this or that. And he really wanted to teach some people after he'd been there a few years. So he asked permission. He was like, I really want to go out and teach people. And he was granted the permission to go out to do that. And he heard about this hermit that lived on this tiny little island outside this body of water, right? And the hermit lived on this little island all by himself. And he thought about this hermit. He was like, the hermit has the perfect way of practicing like he would in a monastery. He lives alone. He's already a hermit. I need to give him this practice. He could be like a monk on the island. So he hired a boatman to take him across to the island. And he meets this person, and he starts to share this mantra. And the hermit said, oh, I've already been using the mantra, but he pronounced it the wrong way. And so the monk kind of chastised him a little bit, and he was like, well, it's not going to work if you're saying it the wrong way. You need to say it this way. And so he worked with the guy until he got it correct. And then he was so proud of himself, and he was like, okay, my work here is done. I need to go find someone else to teach. So he got back into the boat, and he started heading back to the mainland. And halfway to the mainland, the person driving the boat looked shocked, a little bit horrified, and then the guy, the monk, was like, what's going on? And at the same time he's figuring something's going on here, he feels a tap on the back of his shoulder. And he turns up to look over his shoulder, and it's the hermit who had walked on the water because he had forgotten the true pronunciation. And so he said, I'm so sorry, sir, but I've already forgotten what you taught me. And the monk sees what he's doing and says, you've already mastered it. You don't need to know. That's a pretty profound story. Because so often we want to impose on someone else, thinking, oh, you're not doing it right. Oh, do this or that, right? And then he has this realization, he must be doing something right. He's able to walk on water. The monk couldn't walk on water. he had to use the boatman to get him back and forth. So he had this realization. And I think it's an important realization. So often we kind of look on the outside and think someone has it wrong or not good enough or whatever. And really, if we just dig a little more, we discover they're actually so much more. So I wanted to give you that little story about Om Mani Padme Hum, and I wanted you to know that's the mantra that we use with prayer wheels and what they use with prayer wheels in the East. And then we'll meditate with that later. All right, so now that you've got all that down, I have heard from some of you a deep stretchy class, and I have heard flow as well. So we're just going to do a blend of both. And since we hiked a lot this morning, I think it'll be good to do both. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up, and you can sit in a cross-legged position. If that's too uncomfortable, feel free to straighten your legs. Have your hands resting down in your lap. Pull up through your navel center, draw up through your sternum and through the crown of your head. Soften your shoulders. Soften the muscles of the face. And let your eyelids cradle the eyes. And just take a moment with your eyes closed to perhaps think about the prettiest or most awe-inspiring sight that you saw today. And picture that in your mind's eye. And then I want you to begin your breath work, breathing in and out through the nose. And I want you to feel that as you're inhaling and exhaling through the nose, that you're imprinting this image in your mind. Not just for inspiration now, but to be able to pull it up from your inner files later. On your next in-breath, bring your hands to prayer position at your heart, open up the eyes, lace up your fingers, and reach your arms out in front of you. Good. Inhale, lift the arms up overhead, and just pause for a moment. And try to stretch up through the shaft of the spine, through your arms, and even your elbows, if it doesn't create strain. If it creates strain, you can do a little less. Feel your erector muscles firing up alongside your spine. You may even feel a little concave area at the upper part of the abdomen where it's zipping up towards the heart. And on your next out breath, lean to your right. And so we're creating a seated variation of Chandrasana, crescent moon. Staying grounded on your sits bones, lifting up and out through your low ribs, and ensuring that you're maintaining a deep rhythmic breath. Inhale, come back up to the top. Relift, relift, relift. Good. Exhale, lean to the left. Opening up the channel of the breath. Breathing more into that right lung. And then inhale, rise back up to the top. Exhale, circle the arms around behind your back and link up your fingers again. Roll the shoulders back and open up the door of the heart. Good. As you exhale, gently start to hinge down, bowing towards your lap. And then inhale, pull back through your knuckles to the backside of your heart. And then exhale, sweep your hands to Anjali Mudra, prayer position. That's called Circle of Joy. All right, we're going to come up to stand. And then as you come up to stand, we're going to do the breath of joy. And you can stand anywhere on your mat at this point, but just look down at your feet and make sure they're square, side by side, little separation in between. Now this one, it's like 3 swishes. 3 short in-breaths, and then the exhale. And then you're gonna feel like a fairy godmother or a fairy spreading out your your joy, or even a conductor at the symphony, okay? All right, let's begin. Inhaling up. There's no right or wrong here. So you can do your arms any which way. Last one. Now pause here in this standing forward fold. Think about the climbing that we did earlier, right? That required a lot of muscles with the legs. It required some tension in the hamstrings. So now we're going to give a little love and stretch and opening to the back of the body. The walking and the sitting compresses the low back. So hinging forward this way is going to decompress the low back, providing a little space in between those lower vertebrae. Let your neck go. Let the blood flow come down into your face, into your sensory organs, into the pituitary and pineal glands located in the head. Now, we're going to go ahead and soften the knees if they're not already. And let's cross the arms. And notice how crossing the arms makes the upper body slightly heavier. Okay, so this is more of a yen pose. If you don't like that heavy feeling, you can just drape your arms down and act like a rag doll. You can have the eyes open or closed here. And just know this is opening up a main meridian in the back of the body called the urinary bladder meridian according to Chinese medicine. It's the longest one in the human body. If you can, start to meditate on your breath and extend out your exhalations, perhaps making them twice as long as your inhalations. You're hinging from the hips, and that chakra is about letting go. All right, on your next in-breath, bend your knees deep, 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 deep. Scoop your belly in so you're contracting your core. Keep your arms hanging freely down and your head's heavy. Slowly begin to straighten out your leg bones. Slowly begin to stack each vertebra one on top of the other. Let your shoulders roll back and let your head come up. And you're standing in Tadasana. Now in Tadasana, bring your hands to Anjali Mudra again, thumbs to the center of your chest. And I want you to think about that little swishing we were doing, you know, the breath of joy. And I read this in an article a long time ago, but it said, anywhere you go, imagine you're like an angel or a fairy leaving your fairy dust behind. And I love that. So let's continue to leave some good vibes here in Sedona and in this house. Let's step up to the top of the mat. We'll begin our flow. We'll mix in some yin. On your in-breath, let your arms reach up and overhead. And go ahead and gaze up towards the sky above, bringing your palms together, upward worship. Now from here, really dig your feet down into your sticky mat. And notice how when you really push down through the soles of the feet, you're going to feel your calves firm up, your knees lift, your quads contract. And that's a more active, controlled way to do this pose. And as you exhale, swan dive forward and down, Uttanasana. And then inhale, step your left foot way on back. Ground your front foot and pick up your hands, lift them up to crescent lunge. You're on the ball of the back foot. And notice if you're leaning forward and try to erect the spine, head over shoulders, shoulders over hips. All right, from here, as you exhale, bring the arms down and send them back behind you. Look just beyond your toes. And then inhale, take your arms forward and up, Ooh, this mat is way too thick. Not good for balance. Exhale, hinge down.
One back here if you want it.
It's okay. I'll just challenge myself tonight. Inhale up. Good. Exhale, bring it forward and down. All right, from here, I want you to set your fingertips to the mat, offset your back foot, and turn your heel down, and build your arms back up. Now we're in warrior one. Good. Have your front knee bent and your knee aligned. I feel like I'm out of the circle here. So I'm gonna do this because I can't see you guys when I'm turned this way. All right, so look down at your front foot, right? This is an active pose. So if your knee's caving in, roll your hip and thigh open so that you can see a clear line of that big toe, right? And then at the same time, push down through your back heel, reach it up through your fingertips. Now see if you can bring your palms together, maybe look up towards your hands, exalted form of warrior. As you exhale, take your arms down, hook your right arm underneath your left. And this is our eagle arms. Just do the best you can with what's available.
That scared me. I thought that was like somebody in the house.
And as you exhale, hinge forward. Glue down your back foot for stability. Hinge down, look down. Keep squeezing your arms together to activate the muscles in the arms. Good, then keep your feet pressurized. Inhale, gently back it up. Warrior one with eagle arms. Good, exhale, release. Bring your hands to the floor. Spin your heel off the floor and wiggle the left toes back behind. Good. Step into your plank. Hold your shoulders over your wrist. Hug your belly in towards your spine. Good. Now rock forward with your feet. Shoulders cross past the wrist. Exhale, lower to chaturanga. Inhale, lift to up dog if that's available. Good. Exhale. Keep your hands super glued. Lean back towards your feet. Belly drapes over your lap. Head in between the arms. Extended child's pose. So let your elbows stay lifted. Walk the fingertips a little bit farther out. Breathe into your lungs, into your chest, into the pits of the arms with that stretch. On your next inhale, let's bring ourselves up to a tabletop. Curl your toes and roll back to downward facing dog. Now from your downward facing dog, your hands stay shoulder distance apart. Fingers spread nice and wide. Push the ground away from you with all your might. And notice how that kind of locks in your arms. It's pushing you up and out of your wrist. It's really engaging your shoulders. And fly your hips up as high as you can. Let your thighs roll in and power back. Let's all take a cleansing breath. Breathe in through your nose. Blow it out through the mouth. Inhale. Walk the feet forward towards the top of the mat. Lift halfway up in your right. Draw the shoulders back from your ears. Have your hands resting on your legs. Pull the heart towards the center of the circle. Om Mani Padme Hum. Celebrate the jewel of the lotus, the spirit in your own heart. Exhale, bow forward and down. Uttanasana. Affirming here, nothing and no one on this earth can hold me down or back. Root your feet. Inhale, coming up. If you want to stay here, you're welcome to. If you want to lean your head back and bring the palms together to upward worship, you may. And then exhale, hands to heart. Good. Inhale. Let your arms circle up. Urdhva Hastasana or upward worship. If you don't have room to swan dive down, you can bring your hands through the middle and bow forward. Inhale, lift halfway up. Create that 90-degree angle with yourself, and then exhale, fold back down and in. All right, let's do that same sequence. Let's step the right foot back. And let's build the arms up. Crescent, lunge. Thick mats or not. This is more of a Pilates mat.
Yeah.
All right, head over shoulders, shoulders over hips. I know it's quite a balancing pose too, regardless if you're on a thick mat or not, right? And then as you exhale, we're gonna come forward, hover over that front thigh, fingertips reach back, and then inhale, return to your crescent. And then exhale, coming forward and down. Good, again. Breathe it down. Hold it here. Now bring the fingertips to your mat. Offset your right foot. Inhale, coming up. Virabhadrasana 1. Palms can face each other. You can even spiral your pinkies more in towards your temples. And then look down at your front thigh. Open it. See a clear view of that big toe. Draw up through the navel center, and that will activate your root lock as well. Which, by the way, I think Bell Rock was for the root chakra, and I think Cathedral Rock was for the sacral chakra. So we hit those two today. Good. Now bring your arms down. Link your left arm under your right. And now we've got the eagle arms. Turn your fingertips up. Good. Exhale, hinge forward. Looking down. Be heavy in your feet, active in your legs, active in your core, and then inhale, rise back up. Good. Once you come back up, release your hands, bring them down, spin off the back heel, wiggle the toes back. You're in that lunge. Good. Left foot plank. Once you get to plank, rock forward, lower down, low push-up. You can always land your knees first and then bring your shoulders down with. Notice if your shoulders are poking forward. Spread them apart. Good. Curl the toes, draw in through your navel, and rock and roll back. Now, even though I said you could do 1,000 down dogs, and it may not change you much, have your eyes open. Some of you have better views than the others. But inversions can teach us to look at things from a different vantage point, from a different angle, from a different point of view, which can open up our minds. Now, notice if you're in the habit of just kind of resting in this pose, this should be active. So really straighten through your arms. Really pull in and up through your pelvis. Press down through the balls of the feet. Let your heels lift to get the pinnacle of the pose nice and high like a mountain. Good. From here, go ahead and walk the feet forward towards the top of the mat. Lift halfway up when you do. Shoulders back, heart exposed or shining forward. Exhale, let go. Inhale all the way up. And then exhale, bring hands to the heart. All right, now we're going to sprinkle in a little yin with the flow. Inhale. Exhale. Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Create some space. Exhale, close that gap. Return to that forward fold. All right, inhale, we're going to step both feet back to plank. We're going to land the left knee under the left hip. All right, cross your left foot almost towards the deck, right? And then you're going to turn your right foot down, and you're going to sweep that right arm skyward. Now, really anchor your left shin and foot. along with that left hand. Because now we're gonna pick up the right foot. Check in with your body. You may need to keep it on the ground. Good. Now take that right arm, sweep it across your ear towards the center of the circle. You got it. Now exhale, create a fist in your right hand and flex your elbow and knee and pull them towards each other. That's it. That's it, Jessica. Good. Inhale, stretch out. Good. Exhale, draw it in. Work those side obliques. Inhale, extend. Push up through the heel of the foot and exhale, draw in. One more. Now inhale, extend your limbs, but descend your right foot. Now pull up through your right rib cage, and it's like you're almost doing cat stretch on your side, or like you're trying to create a Romanesque arch. Let your head spill down towards your left shoulder, and let your right arm drape down over your head. That's it. We're like wilting like a flower that's been in the vase too long. We're creating that C curve at the top arm. Putting the emphasis now into the breath. Opening up the right side body in a more passive way. All right, exhale. Let your right hand come down. Let your left shin come back to the sticky mat. Let your right leg step over to the side. You got it. You have room, Michelle?
Yes.
Okay. Sweep that right arm out and up. Yes, send the right leg towards Jessica.
I think I did this before.
No, you had it right before. You had it right. Inhale, arm up. This is stargazer pose. And this is the perfect place to do some stargazing. So if you didn't do it last night, try to add it in tonight or tomorrow. Splay the fingers wide on that upper hand like sun rays. The sun was fierce today. Exhale, bring that right hand down. Good, drop your right knee. Now for a yin pose. You're gonna flip your left hand. That's what we've been anchoring. We're gonna flip it and thread it through. We're gonna lower to the left side of the face, and then we're gonna plop the right forearm down to the ground. Now there's an active way to do this pose. I'm putting you in the passive version, which is where you let your low back and belly collapse. Let your weight collapse onto the back of that left arm. It's not really about rolling as much into the twist. We will do that in a little bit though. Close your eyes in this one. This is opening up some fascia, some connective tissue, and bringing some fluid and lubrication to the shoulder joint. Look at the arms as being extensions or wings of the heart, because they're included with the heart chakra. And consider how we can use the arms to create boundaries, to push people away, but we can also use the arms to really embrace someone and to bring them close. We can use our hands as a way of giving as well as receiving. for the next several breaths. I want you to lift that right arm and then see if your shoulder allows you to thread the right arm behind your back. If that's too much, you can bring it down. These are always invitations and suggestions, but it's up to you to discern what is best for you in the now. All right, let's try that active version. Let's bring the right hand down just in front of the face and rest on the fingertips. And then pull in through your belly and press into that right hand. And now roll towards that left shoulder blade. And your face may even roll slightly up towards the sky. And now breathing into that back ribs, back into the back door of the heart. Now let's ground the whole right palm. Push into that hand to come out of that twist. Good. We're going to bring the right forearm down. And now we're going to take the left forearm out in front. And you're dropping your belly. You're sinking your chest. The left elbow can rest. This is a half melting heart pose. And so I'm just going to recite that mantra. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Padme is lotus, and the lotus, like I said last night, represents transformation, rebirthing, awakening, enlightenment, to name a few. With your eyes closed, even picture a beautiful pink lotus blooming at your heart. Picture that lily, that lotus, sitting on the green lily pad. The green and pink are colors that depict or represent this energy field in the body. Think about each one of those petals like it would open up to the sun every day. Think of each petal opening up that gives you an extra awakening, extra insight. Inhale it, slowly lift the head. Walk your hands and stack them underneath your shoulders, and then we bend the ends. So notice how you may be creating a saddle in your back. So root your hands, your shins, and let your belly hug in. So your belly's engaged. And then rock your right foot back towards the deck. Send your left leg back, planting the foot. And we'll do that same sequence we did earlier on the second side. Lift your left arm up towards the heavens. Splay that hand open. Glue that back foot down. Be energized. be a line. See if you can create a vertical line between your top hand and bottom hand, your left and your right shoulder. Good, now take that left arm across your ear towards the center of the circle, and now pick up that left foot. Spread the toes. The more you reach through that left foot, the more you're even going to feel the knee activate. Do you feel that? That's the active way. The yin way is about being soft. All right, let's send the left foot down. Let's bring that left arm over and let's pull up through the left side of the ribs. So you're creating that like side cat stretch. You got it. So the lower limbs are helping us to stay balanced and stable. But that top arm is just relaxed and hanging down. The head can droop. Breathe into the intercostal muscles that are in between your ribs. Decrease any tension that's been stored there from our stress. All right, as you exhale, let your left hand come back down, let your right foot come back to the mat, and let your left leg step over to the side. You got it. Flip your left hand. See if you can create that vertical line again with your hands and your arms. Since we were talking about the arms being extensions of the heart, think about one arm representing love and the other compassion. Good. On your next exhale, let's lower the left hand and let's lower the left knee. Good. We've been anchoring through that right hand. Let's give it a break. Flip it open, thread it below, drop down to the right ear and temple, and just collapse your left forearm and just give into gravity. So every year around St. Patrick's Day, inevitably I always have someone send me Irish yoga. And Irish yoga is basically nothing more than some drunk people collapsing into poses. And then they look like yoga poses, right? And this is one of those where you just look super limp, super relaxed in it, but it's kind of a little awkward, right? If you were to look at someone from the outside, like, what are you doing, right? But you are getting benefits here. The hips are higher than the heart is higher than the head. This is good for the heart. This is good for calming the mind. Now close your eyes and just breathe. Enjoy the breeze and notice anything else you're experiencing in this moment, in the now. scan through your body. Where are you still holding? Where are you contracting? Where can you let go? And then for the last few breaths in this pose, let's take that left arm up and then see if it wants to thread behind the back. If it causes you any strain or pain, you can leave it out. Bring that left hand down just in front of the face, and let's push into that left hand, and let's pull in through the navel, and let's roll towards the right shoulder blade. So it's a more active and intentional twist. Now flatten your left palm, unthread that right arm, returning to tabletop position. You're gonna lower your left forearm down this time, and your right arm's gonna reach ahead, and you're gonna dip, dip, dip down through your belly, through your chest, through your face. And as you allow the forehead to come down to rest on the arm, just know there's a marma point here for the third eye. And when we penetrate this point with some pressure, it allows us to induce a mental peace. And I think a lot of that is due to the vagus nerve, because when we have weight here on the forehead, it can calm that major nerve in the body. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Celebrate the jewel of the lotus, the spirit within your heart. So maybe looking back at that pink lotus and maybe finding a gem or a jewel sitting inside the petals. Maybe it's a clear diamond. Maybe it's a rose quartz crystal. All right, let's slowly come out of half melting heart. Let's lift the head. Let's realign the hands. Curl the back toes under. Launch up to your downward facing dog. And from your Adho Mukha Svanasana, let's walk the feet forward towards the top of the mat. Let's lift halfway up. Good. Exhale, bow over and down. Inhale back up to the top. And exhale, bring hands home to the heart. All right, we're going to do another flow. So inhale, arms open up. Exhale, fold. In and halfway lift. Out and lower back in. Inhale, this time take your right foot back, but you're gonna spin down to the back heel. The right arm's gonna lift, and you're gonna come to Virabhadrasana 2. Same thing can happen with that front knee. It may want to cave in, but open that hip. Reach the arms out over the legs.
I'm in my world over here.
Flip your left hand. Take that left arm up. Exhale, bring the elbow down to the knee and send your right arm up. Side angle. Now, stay here in side angle. Use that left arm to slightly push into that front thigh. And then see if you can roll the barrel of your chest up towards the sky. Right? You're not going to get huge movement, but you should get some movement, some opening. All right, inhale. Warrior 2. Flip your left hand, cascade it. Back arm down, left arm reaches up, and then exhale, modify your side angle unless you want to go deeper. Of course, you're welcome to go deeper. See if you can dial your heart up. Inhale, warrior 2. Set of 3. Flip that front hand. Reverse that warrior. Exhale, side angle. Now look down towards your front foot. Spin off your back heel. Bring your hands down. Does everyone have pretty good left knee? Okay, so you're gonna slide or hop that foot over. You're gonna land to your shin, and then just checking your knees. So you see how your knee's facing the center of the mat? See if, yeah, lift your left hip and then kind of shimmy it towards me. Just slide, yes, that's it, great. Now let's bring it down. Now you can rest on forearms, you can rest on prayer hands, and of course you can spill down if that's in your wheelhouse. But just because you can doesn't always mean you should, and that's where the layer of discernment comes in. What is best now? Let this pose move you inward. Count 5 more breaths. At the conclusion of your 5th, we'll slowly come up. We'll separate the hands, curl the back toes, and step to plank. Structure is here. Arms like columns, thighs plucking up towards the sky. A nice long line from your heels to your crown. Beautiful. Good. Rock forward, lower down to chaturanga. Inhale, lift into your heart opening position. And exhale, rock and roll back. Downward facing dog. Push your thighs back. And then slowly travel the feet forward, coming halfway up. Exhale, lower. Inhale to the top. Exhale, hands to heart. All right, we'll hit that second side. Inhale. Exhale, hinge from the hips. Inhale, lift halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Good, exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, left foot steps back. Back heel spills to the ground. Cartwheel it up. Virabhadrasana 2. Rolling open through the thighs, through the hips. Lifting up through the chest, spreading out through the arms. Flip your right hand, reverse it. Exhale, side angle. Use that right arm to push lightly into that front thigh. And then also equally dial your heart up towards the sky. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 2. Flip it and reverse it. Oh my God, that sounded like an 80s hip hop song. Flip it and reverse it. Bring it down, side angle. Oh, is that a bat?
Where?
It's a bat.
Yep.
It's getting
Get those mosquitoes, please.
Yes, they're all landing on me.
Yeah, they're buzzing in my ear.
And I just like they're in my face and I'm getting itchy. I don't know.
Inhale, warrior 2.
You're dry. You need
My
to put
skin is
lotion
so
on.
dry and I'm so itchy.
Yeah,
I feel like I have like bugs crawling.
I almost said it again. Flip it and reverse it. I've never used that before. I don't know why it's coming up now. It must be the energy from the day, which that came out of nowhere, really. Side angle. This is our third, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, left hand down. Spin off your back heel. All right, and this is where you can heel toe the foot, or you can slide it or hop it over. Lower the shin. And then send that knee so it's slightly angled towards the long side of your mat. And then find your place, your sweet spot. And I'll give you some time to be quiet and introspective. Count 5 more breaths. that final 5th breath, you can slowly start to uplift. Solidify your hands. We're going to take that last vinyasa for today. Stepping into plank, rocking forward, lower down to Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, lift the Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, and exhale to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Now we're changing up how we're ending the flow. So look forward towards your hands, and you're going to step your feet behind them nice and wide so that you're dropping your hips into a squat. If this is too much for your body, you can always just sit down and have your hands to prayer here or here, and you're still going to get a hip stretch. Okay, so if it's too much for your balance tonight or too much for your hips, there's always a modification. I'm getting a cramp. So think about the glute muscles that we had to work, right? And how much the hip flexors had to work today to climb those rocks. We're going to bring the hands around behind us, and we're all going to sit down, but I would suggest sliding the feet a little bit more forward. And then stacking your hands to your shins. Have the feet wide enough so that you can move in and out of this space, because we're going to inhale, roll into a seated cow, and then as we exhale, roll it back to cats. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. Continue with your breath. We don't have to be in sync with one another. This is how you personalize your practice. And this is how you practice a state of mindfulness that can carry over from the mat into life. Most of the time we're rushing and we have a shallow breath, and that's what makes us fearful and anxious and overwhelmed. But if we acknowledge our breath, and if we can control the breath, then we can loosen up those ties that bind us to those type of emotions. Last set. Good. Once you come back up, your feet are going to come together. We're almost done. Make a diamond shape with your legs. So it's different than this pose. I know you're used to this pose with the feet close together. We're going to have the feet more apart. And then, everybody have a pretty healthy back? Okay. So for you, you are going to have the feet more in and your back straight. Okay. If you have a healthy back, we're going to keep the diamond shape and we're going to round. So active, feet closer, back straight. Passive, diamond shaped legs and a rounded spine. Soften your jaw, your teeth, your tongue, your lips, your cheeks, your eyes, your brow. Inhale, let's bring it up. Close the knees. If you want a little core work, you can contract your belly and roll back one vertebra at a time. If you're like, not really, just roll down. Yogi's choice. Arms beside you, palms flat, and you're going to tuck and lift to bridge. I think I'm the only one that can see the moon.
I can see it.
You can see
So
it.
bright
It's
tonight.
so pretty.
There's the first star.
I saw that earlier.
It's twinkling.
Let your thighs roll in towards each other, not to touch, but just in that general direction. See if you can ground your outer arms and float your chest up more. 3 more breaths. And then exhale, let's roll it down 1 vertebra at a time. And then as soon as you roll down to the sacrum, pull the feet together like that butterfly again, and let your hands rest on your belly. If this becomes too much for your hips to sustain, please lift your knees and straighten your legs. And if you already know it's going to turn into that, you may want to go ahead and lift the knees and straighten your legs. Let your belly rise as you inhale. Fall on the exhale. Feel that gentle, cool breeze. And stay established in the now. So if your mind begins to think and carry you away, come back to your breath to anchor you into this moment, this place. That's all deep in the flow of our breath. Turn the knees up. And hug the knees in to your belly and chest. Pausing here. So this will stretch out the low back. Again, it got compression when we were walking and hiking today, so give it a little room to breathe. Open your arms. Send your knees to the left. Draw the knees through the middle, and now send them over to the right. taking just a few breaths while you're here. Maybe affirming internally, I am opening myself up to a new flow of positive energy within. Bring that left arm over to the right and push down into your left hand to build yourself up to take a seat. And we'll close out this practice, sitting up to your hands to prayer. And then separate your 3 middle fingers. So only the pinkies are touching and your thumbs are touching. This is the lotus mudra. And again, just picture that pink lotus at the heart. Om Mani Padme Hum. Celebrate the jewel of the lotus, the spirit within your own heart. The light, love, and lotus within me bows with honor and respect to the light, to the love, and the lotus that you hold within yours. Namaste. Namaste. Thanks, you guys, for letting me teach you.
That's wonderful.
Good. So I hope I got flow,
Yes.
stretch,
Wonderful.
theme to prepare for tomorrow.
I'm gonna go get dinner in the oven. We have about 20 minutes.